Okay, guys, let's get started. Welcome to our class. And as you know, today we're going to be looking at the review. So that means making sure that we understand the grammar when we use the verb be going to. So remember, we use this when we want to talk about our plans. Where are we going? What is our plan for the weekend? Or what is our plan for next week? So it is a future tense and it's using the verb to be, and then it's using going to, and then you talk about the place. So maybe you are going to the movies, or you are going to the park, or you're going to the beach. So that's the grammar that we want to look at. And it just allows us to make sure that we can not just say where we are going, but also why. And to do that, we need to say to verb. So for example, I'm going to the beach to relax. Okay, so we're talking about using this grammar to speak about our plans and what we want to do, what's our plans. And also, if you remember, we looked at some vocab to do with films, with movies. So we're going to look at entertainment with TV, with movies, and talking about nature as well. So let's get into our class. This is a review. So if you look at all the last lessons that we did, that's where we did the lessons. Today is a review, making sure that we understand the grammar. Okay, so we have I'm on the review, page 116, and I can see in this book, so I can see that I need to use be going to make a sentence. So in the first sentence, we have the subject we. So we start our sentence always with a subject. So we know it's we, that means me and someone else. So we need to use the verb to be. So we know it's plural, we are, and then we've got going to, and then what is the activity? Okay, so this sentence is, we are going to watch a film this evening. Number 2, Matt and Raul. So that's our subject, 2 people. They are going to play tennis. Number 3, I am going to meet friends for dinner. So we could see these are plans. We know what the action is, to meet friends for dinner. They, now this is a negative sentence. They aren't here because there's a problem with their car. Okay, so to make the negative, we use the verb to be and attach it with not. So they are not, or you could say they aren't going to drive here because there's a problem with their car. Now we have a question. So we know that with a question, we start with the verb to be. So are you going to have a holiday this year? Okay, are you going to Europe for your holidays? Are you going to travel this year? Okay, asking about someone else's plans. So the subject was you. I'm asking someone, are you going to travel, to have a holiday? Rachel, so now we're talking about someone, she. So Rachel is going to buy the tickets online. So we can see the main verb is this one here, to buy, to have a holiday, to drive, to meet friends, to watch a film. Okay, so that's the main action, the main plan. And then we use going to just say, this is the plan. So Rachel is going to buy tickets online. That's her plan. The author, so someone who writes books, this is a negative, isn't, he or she isn't going to write another book ever again. Okay, so a negative sentence, isn't, we put that before going to. And we have a question. Is she going to play her guitar? Okay, so question, we start with the verb to be. So again, we're talking about plans. Okay, future plans. So we know we have the subject plus the verb to be. Now remember, it is using the present, so it could be am, is, are, because if it's I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, they are, and then you add going to, and then the main or the plan. Okay, so I'm going to go, I'm going to travel, I'm going to work, I'm going to whatever. So that's how we create our sentence. Okay, let's look at some more example using this grammar to talk about our plans. So I can see for number 2, I'm going to a cafe to have a drink. So now I've got the structure here. I'm going to a cafe. So that's my plan. But now to say why, we add to verb. So to have a drink, that tells you why am I going to a cafe. So I'm going to a cafe, which is this same rule, but now we're adding why, to have a drink. Now, if you want, you can put when at the beginning of the sentence. It could be on Sunday, next week, tomorrow night. Okay, so you can put when it's going to happen at the beginning of the sentence before the subject. Let's look at this one. I'm going to a concert. Okay, that's my plan. I'm going to a concert to listen to music. To listen to music is why. So to verb. I'm going to a concert to hear my favorite artist. I'm going to a concert to experience classical music, whatever. To verb, to listen, to hear. Let's have a look at this sentence. I'm going to the theater to see a musical. I'm going to the shops to buy clothes. I'm going to an art gallery to look at paintings. Okay, so we said the plan. So I have the plan. Now we're saying plus, we're adding the reason, the why am I doing the plan. So that's how we create this sentence. Okay, so the plan plus the reason. So the plan is in pink, I'm going to a cafe, and the reason is in blue, to have a drink, to listen to music. Okay, to make this one, you say to verb, and the plan, we know this is how we write our plan. So to talk about your plan, okay, and then the plan plus the plan. Now we're going to add the reason to it. So that's how we create a really good sentence. Okay, so now let's look at some more sentences. So a plan for this weekend with going to. Okay, so what is our plan for this weekend? I want to tell someone what my plan is. I'm going to the beach to relax. So I said why? To relax. I'm going to a restaurant to eat lunch. I'm going to the cinema to watch a movie. Maybe we can change the subject. We can say my wife and I are going to church to pray. Maybe the subject could be we, my friends, my friends. We are going to the pub to meet my friends. Or maybe we is my husband and I are going to the pub to meet my friends. You can say he. Maybe he or she, my friend, is going to the airport to travel to Brazil. Okay, so I talked about my plan. So let's have a look again. My plan, we use the subject, which could be I, you, he, she, it, we, they. And then we use the verb to be in the present. So maybe it's am, is, or are. And then we said going to, and then that plan. So we are going to watch a film. But then we want to say why. So we're going to watch a film. To verb. To see the latest movie. Okay, we then looked at, if you remember, we then looked at some vocabulary that's to do with the movies. So we know we have genres, which means types of movies. We have science fiction, that's a type of films. Comedy, we know what comedy means. So comedy is like fun, there's laughing, there's jokes. It's a fun movie. It's very funny. Documentary. So a documentary is true. It's about maybe some animal or some serious issue in the world. So it's a documentary where people are giving you information about what is going on in the world. Okay? Could be a short documentary. It could be a long series documentary. Horror, we know that that's a kind of movie that is very scary. You're going to feel scared. Okay, it's going to frighten you. You're going to be afraid. And a thriller. A thriller is a type of movie where it has some kind of like action. It's really like making you can't wait to see what's going to happen next. And animation. We also call that cartoon. So that could be something like for the children. Animation, cartoon. Okay, so we're on the review, number 5. We've got some places. So if I say a stadium, that's a place. A cinema, that's a place. A theater is a place. Gallery, but a film is not a place. Now, types of films: animation, thriller, fantasy, news. News is not a type of film. Landscapes. So landscapes means like the ground. So rocks, yes. Mountains, yes, that's a landscape. Fruit is not a landscape. Sea is a landscape. Sky, that's a landscape. So landscape is what you see in nature. Types of plants: grass, yes. Birds, no. A bird is not a plant. Trees, yeah, that's plants. Flowers, yes. Leaves, yes. Animal: kangaroo is an animal. Turtle is an animal. Bird is an animal. Frog is an animal, but lake is not an animal. A lake is what we see in a landscape. Okay, we have 3 different photos. The first one, we're looking at news. So, you know, news, you watch to see what is happening in the world. You'll usually see someone sitting and they are presenting and they're just speaking and telling you world news. The second image is a soccer game. Okay, or it could be any game. It could be a football game. It could be a tennis match. Okay, so it's a sporting game. Okay, I could say soccer, or I could just be general sporting game. And we've got polar bears. If we see polar bears, that means that it is a documentary, because remember, documentaries are real. It's not a fake movie. It's real, and it's giving you information about something that's real in the world. Could be animals or what is happening in the world. Okay, so now we know how to talk about different types of films and TV programs. So we had here, this was different types of films and TV programs. And nature, we looked at some vocab that is to do with nature. Okay, like birds and grass and mountains. Okay, in number 8, we've got a conversation. So we also looked at how do we invite someone. Remember, if we want to ask someone to come somewhere, we need to be able to invite. And to invite just means that we're asking someone to come somewhere. Okay, so to invite, but we don't want to just invite, we want to make arrangements. And remember, arrangements meant like the details. So where do we meet? What time? What should I bring? Like the details. Where is the place? Where should I park? Are we meeting there? Or do you want to meet at my place? So arrangements. So we're inviting someone somewhere, and we're also giving them details about where we're going to meet. So this is a conversation. So we've got A, it says, would you like to come to the cinemas with me? Okay, so it's a nice polite way, would you like? Okay. If you say, do you want to come with me to the cinema? That's another way to say it. This is just more polite. And again, if you want to make it very casual with your friends, you can say, wanna come with me to the cinema? Okay, so B asks, when are you going? That's a good question. They want to know, well, when? What time are you going? Okay, so these are the same kind of question. When is asking about the time, or you could say, what time? So you got two different ways of asking. When are you going? What time? And A says at 6, okay? So we don't, if this was in a text message, you don't write, you put the number. You don't write the number, you put the number. And if you want, it's really common, we say at 6 p.m. And that's how you say it. You can even say it, if you're speaking to your friend, you can say, well, I'm going at 6 p.m. And remember, we use at, the preposition, when we talk about time. And also location, at 6 p.m. at Norwood Cinema. Okay, so I could even add where by saying at 6 p.m. at Norwood Cinema, for example. Okay, so that's just some extra words there. And we know how to respond. So maybe you want to say, yes, I can come, or no, I can't come. So if you want to say no, you would apologize. It's very common to say sorry. And make sure you put a comma if you're writing this in a text message. So sorry, I can't. Or sorry, but I'm working late. Okay, sorry, I won't be able to. Sorry, I can't. And then A says, the film is also at 9. Okay, so also, because there's two options, there's one at 6 p.m. and also at 9 p.m. So B says, okay, I'd love to come at 9. Okay, so that they said, okay, so they're showing, yes, that's good. Okay. And I'd love to is an expression when we're really, really interested. Yes, I'd love to come. You'd say, okay, perfect. Sounds good. I can do 9 o'clock. And remember, we've got another way to say that. Yes, 9 o'clock works for me. Okay, so you could say another sentence could be something like perfect. I always use this a lot. Perfect. Good. Okay, great. Perfect. 9 p.m. works for me. This is very common native English speaker. Okay, we say perfect, whatever time, you put the detail here, works for me. You can say that works for me. Perfect. That works for me. Like it means, yes, that's good. I can do it. It works for me. Okay, and then A says, again, we need to show these kind of expressions to show that we understand what someone is saying. So great. Now they want to make arrangements, continue to make arrangement. Let's meet outside the cinema at 8:45 p.m. Okay, so we know where, outside the cinema, and at what time? At 8:45 p.m. So 15 minutes before the movie. And B says, right. Not very common. We say something like more like great. Okay, it's more common to say great. See you there. So remember, there is talking about location. So I'll see you there. Or you could say I'll see you then, because then is about the time. So, okay, see you there. Bye. Okay, so you could see that that was a conversation. We were inviting someone, we were making arrangements, telling them about the details. Where are we meeting? When? So this is just an example. So we're going to pretend that this is a telephone conversation and two people are arranging to meet next week. Okay, so one person says, hi, Letizia, do you want to do something tonight? Okay, do you want to do something tonight? Very casual, you know, between your friends, you would say, do you want to do something tonight? And that's good. They said when? Tonight. And Letizia says, yes, sure. What do you have in mind? So that's a common way that we say that. Like, what are you thinking? What's the plan? Like, what's your idea? Okay, what do you have in mind? So when someone tells you they want to do something, but you don't know the full details, you can say, okay, well, what's on your mind? And then this person says, I'm thinking of going to, so remember we talked about using going to verb to talk about our plans. So they said, I'm thinking. That means they're not yet sure, but they're planning. It's an idea. I'm thinking of going to have a drink somewhere. Okay, I'm thinking of going to have a drink somewhere. They don't know where, just, I don't know, somewhere. Maybe in the city, maybe somewhere near home, just somewhere. And again, we've got these expressions. Great. What time? And then the person says, does 8 p.m. work for you? Remember, this is a common expression. Does 8 p.m. work for you? Now, it's a do question or does. So we need to say yes or no first. And if it's in text message, you put a comma after yes or no. So yes, of course. And if you want, you can put an exclamation mark. That means that you're saying it with excitement, like, yes, of course. And the person responds, that's great. I'll come pick you up at 7:30. Okay, so again, it's very common in text message. We write it like this, 7:30 p.m. Or if you're saying it over the phone, you say, that's great. I'll come pick you up at 7:30 p.m. Or you could just say at 7:30. And this person says, okay, see you then. So again, I need to make sure I'm showing the person I understand. So I say, okay, see you then. Okay, and if this was over the phone, if it was in a text message, you could put your emojis, okay, to show that you're, this is another conversation. Yes.
Work for you, that's okay.
Is that okay?
Fine.
Yeah, is that fine for you? Yeah. Yeah. Is that okay for you? Is that fine for you? Yeah. But this is more common. We say, does that work for you? But exactly, that's what it means. Okay, so this was conversation 1. Now we have another conversation here. So, hi Mariana. Want to come out with Daniela and I tonight? Okay, so wanna, very casual. It's with your friends, you say wanna. Okay, so wanna come out. To come out means to go out. It's exactly the same verb. Wanna go out, wanna come out. So it means to come out of the home. Maybe to go to the movies, to the festival, to the markets, to the park. It's somewhere outside of home. So wanna come out with Daniela and I. So not just with me, but with Daniela and I tonight. And Mariana says, yeah, sure. What's the plan? So that's very common because to go out, you don't know where. It's just outside of the home. So Mariana said, yeah, sure. What's the plan? Like, where are we going? And then she responds, we are going to have a drink at 7:30. Okay, so we're going to have a drink at 7:30. Maybe you could say at 7:30 at the bar on North Terrace, or the name of the bar at, I'm just making this up, at Nico Bar, for example. Okay, so the name of the place, we are going to have a drink at 7:30 at, because we use at when we talk about the place and also the time, at Nico Bar. So she gave very clear details, where, when, and again, she showed that she understood. So, okay, now this is a common way of asking, you want to know if someone else is coming. So who else is coming? Because I know Daniela and this person, but who else? Or who else is going to be there? And she responds, just us. And she says, okay. So again, in writing, we have 2 different ways. You can write this way or this way. The pronunciation is the same. So, okay, where are we going to meet? So remember, we can make questions using our W. So where for a place, where are we going to meet? And again, we use at to talk about the place, the location. So at my home, maybe, and then we'll take an Uber. This is very common now. So you would have heard Uber's very popular. Or we'll take a taxi. So remember an, because the next word is an A-E-I-O-U. So we'll take a taxi or we'll take an Uber. So they're going to meet at my house and then we'll take an Uber. And she responds, nice. Again, nice, great, perfect. Okay, we use that a lot. So we show that we're, yeah, perfect, nice. See you there soon. Okay, some common, we use gonna, which means going to. So I'm gonna go to the movies. I think I remember Javiera asked me about this one, gonna. So it means going to. So you still need to put the verb to be in the beginning. I'm gonna I'm gonna see my friends this weekend. Okay, I'm gonna take my girlfriend for dinner. Maybe that's a man who's saying that. Okay, so it's a very casual. So be careful. You only use this when you talk to someone, your close friends. It just means going to. So I'm gonna, maybe you could say, I'm gonna stay home and study. So maybe, no, sorry, I can't come. I'm gonna stay home and study. Now, because this is, it's not proper grammar, it could also be written I'm gonna. It's more common to write with the O, but it could be written gonna, because that's how we say I'm gonna go see my friend. Okay, but again, be careful if English is not your first language. You don't want to be learning these just yet. You want to make sure that you're able to speak without making a mistake, and then you'll learn casual ways how to say this. Okay, it's like wanna. Wanna is probably the easiest one to use first. I would use wanna maybe first, and then when you're a bit more confident, I'm gonna. Okay, but again, it's very casual, very casual. So you want to make sure you're speaking to someone very close, and you don't want to keep repeating it. So because then you'll sound funny. So it's only like one sentence. I might say, well, I'm gonna go see my friend this weekend, and then I'm going to, whatever. Okay, so that was the review that we had. Okay, so the really important part for this review was really being able to talk about making plans, and not just making plans, but making arrangements, telling someone the details of where we want to meet. And also, we know that now we can confidently ask someone to go somewhere with us, to come with us, and to give them details. We can say where we want to meet, at what time. We can talk about different kinds of films, different types of things in nature as well. And really, we're able to say our plans, but not just what the plan is, but remember, now we can say why we are doing that plan. So for example, I'm going to study this weekend. Why? To prepare for my test on Monday. Okay, I'm going to go to Latin America. Why? So I'm going to go to Latin America to experience the Latino culture, the food, their music. Okay, so now we can say what's our plan and why we want to do that plan. Okay, so that's all that we had for the review. Until next time.